News with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral. Weird crime, protest, politics. Give me news with Gina Grad. Stuff they saw on TMZ. Joe Biden. Kamala. Meet news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Hey, can I jump in with some breaking news?
Yeah.
Our friend Brad Williams just texted me, as have several people. Breaking news, USC fires Clay Helton.
Really?
At long last, our national nightmare is over. Clay Helton has been fired as USC head coach. Why they'd wait until 2 games into the year, no one knows. But then again, no one knows anything what USC does, so we can move on and rebuild.
Okay. I got breaking news. You can get a Lamborghini Islero for $250,000 to $350,000, Frank.
But Clay with his buyout can get a couple of those.
Yeah, and I'm not going to point you toward a Countach. Let's stick with the old school stuff.
Well, this, I'm sorry, is breaking news like so over now, or can I do it too?
Oh, well, around the horn.
We just got, I got a news alert from TMZ that there was a major skirmish over between Bears and Rams fans at our very own SoFi Stadium. I'm just going to read this right from TMZ because it literally just came over the wire here on my phone. Several Bears and Rams fans got into a wild brawl Sunday night with multiple men throwing and landing massive haymakers. The violence was all captured on video. Oh, good. We'll watch that in a second. The calamity all started at the beginning of LA's game against Chicago when one witness says Bears fans got into a verbal argument with several Rams fans for cheering the action on the field. Then they said things got so aggressive, security stepped in and made them switch seats, but that's not where the action happened. After the game, some of the men ran into each other inside the concourses at this new arena, and it didn't take long for fists to start a fly-in. Let's see some of this brawl.
All right. Yeah, this is...
yeah, go ahead.
We're in some sort of weird New World Order where the stadiums are more modern, but the people are go more Cro-Magnon. Like the stadiums are state of the art, but the people are old school morons.
Yes.
Like it's weird, and also it's weird because in the context of like all these old stadiums from the 50s and the 60s, these guys throwing down felt kind of Andy Cappy.
Yes.
Now there's so much terrazzo and brushed nickel around, and these guys are still throwing down.
Yeah, and apparently, and we'll see if we see it in this clip, all these guys are fighting, and there is so much violence that you start seeing blood smeared all over people's shirts and the wall. We're watching right now just tons of dudes.
They're just fighting in the hall right now?
Yeah.
This is the first game they've had people in the stadium, right?
Oh, that's good. And, of course, half of them are fighting and half of them are filming.
Jesus.
Right.
Taking to the ground.
Yeah, and there's different, it's like it's separate wrestling matches. That guy got a kick in for no reason. There's like 4 different little spats going on.
It's like, first off, everything is being filmed. It's all being noted. I would say the same thing to these guys as the guys who showed up to the Capitol on the 6th. There's cameras. They can find out who you are, and you can be banned or jailed or whatever. And all this does, all it does is make booze more expensive for those of us who want to catch a buzz and not fight.
I was going to say, like the people who showed up at the Capitol on whatever, January 5th or 6th, these people showed up ostensibly to watch a game. They're really there to fight.
Yeah.
They probably went there like hoping to get into a fight, or at least in the mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're 45 years old.
So what?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They saw Boss Level one so many times.
Come on. There's a bunch of 22-year-old millionaires playing on the field, and these idiots are beating each other up.
Also, I wonder if it's a general girth thing, because these guys are big.
Thick.
They are thick dudes. And
they're carb loaders.
You do have a certain sense of, well, how bad is this punch to the midsection going to hurt with all this butterbean padding I got on me?
It.
Also, a lot of people don't do the breakdown between fat and muscle. They just go, I'm 6'1", 285. Yeah, 285 of what?
Taco Bell.
285 of grande beef.
Bell beefer.
Bell beefers, yeah.
Yeah. And they also forget about their pants already
Yes.
are low,
Yes.
and that they come beneath the crack, and
Yeah,
you know,
there's a lot of ass
lose.
crack, a lot of belly showing.
And like you said, not only is this why we can't have nice things, this is why we can't have affordable things.
But do you wonder, like, in the animal kingdom, like I was just on Catalina, and they got the bison out there. The big bulls are just big and fat and buff, you know what I mean? And they just go at it with the other. Do you think the general girth is turning it into like a big sumo match or something? Because it does seem
Literally ramming.
There was 14 guys here, and none of them were under 220 pounds, right? No. And they're drunk.
Yeah. And they're just kind of like you saw that guy was being kind of lazy, looked around, and then just kicked a guy and kept walking.
Right.
People are gross. So we talked, I think it was last week, that LAUSD here in Los Angeles is doing vaccine requirements for kids 12 and older. Well, New York, their public school is conducting what Fox News is referring to as the nation's largest experiment of in-person learning during this pandemic. So the start of the school year coincides with several milestones in the city. Nearly all of the city's 300,000 employees will be required to go back into the workplace. In person, today as we record this, as the city ends remote working, this is happening. Most will either need to be vaccinated or undergo weekly COVID-19 testing to remain at their jobs. There will also be a vaccine mandate with no test out option for teachers, though they will be given until the end of September to get their first shot. Also, no more remote learning as an option. So you must go back to school, you must get vaccinated, and you must move forward.
I think a lot of the unions are going to fight this.
I would think.
I know the Postal Carriers Union were like exempt from the mandatory vaccinations. If you have, A, you have a good union, and B, your union gives a lot of money to the people that are making the fucking rules.
Right.
So you get to opt out of shit magically, where everyone else has a business with over 100 people and it has to comply.
Right.
So there's like 500,000 mail carriers and they're exempt. But you who runs a business is not exempt because they got a union, and they can't just tell everyone in the union, hey, do this. The union goes, no, we're going to take a vote on it.
Well,
But Chris, you can look, is LA Unified, is their union, are their teachers are going to sign off on we're all going to get vaccinated or we can't go back into the classroom? Because I would assume they would put up a fight too.
Oh, of course. And about going back anyway. But Fox says that about 2/3 of the city in New York, of the city's 12 to 17-year-olds are currently vaccinated. Doesn't that seem like a lot?
Seems like a lot for that age group.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
The union supports the board's decision.
Oh, they do. So,
yes.
So LA Unified, they're all going to get vaccinated and then go back, or they are back, or whatever.
They're back.
They're back.
No, they're back.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
My kids that are in school now are 13 and 17.
Yeah.
And they go to ridiculous private schools.
So did they ever close?
They closed.
They did.
Yeah, they closed. But they opened early. They opened in August. But they're vaccinated. My kids are vaccinated. My ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, got them vaccinated without telling me.
Oh.
I took my kids to, well, actually, the plan I have is my son walks to school, and then my daughter, I drive her to school because she doesn't want to get sweaty. Unlike Uncle Frank over here, who does want to get sweaty.
Isn't she a varsity
She's a volleyball
player?
in season.
I don't know.
She's a varsity volleyball
She's
player?
varsity volleyball in the 10th grade, so she's doing good. I don't know. She don't want to get sweaty. Fine. I drove her to school. I drive her in my bathrobe, by the way.
That's the give and
I'm
take.
not a weird...
In your Maserati.
In my Maserati. Lamborghini. No, I wear trunks under the bathrobe.
That's
I'm not a
mighty nice
weirdo.
of you, yeah.
But I drove her in the bathrobe, and then I get the call from my son, like, hey, could you pick me up? You know, it's so funny when people give you bullshit. I'm the worst guy ever for that, because my son walks to school. Then he get the call going, can you pick me up halfway to school? And I'm like, why? And he goes, well, I'm running late. And I go, why? And he goes, well, I was walking down the driveway this morning. Guy stopped me at the end of the driveway, asked me for directions. Now I'm late.
Was it 10 minutes?
I said, yeah, how long did that go on? I don't know, 5, 10 minutes. No, it didn't. You left late. That took 21 seconds.
Good story.
Yeah, but
Helpful.
nice. Yeah. So I end up driving them both.
I would be very concerned if your child stopped to talk to a stranger for 10 minutes who was probably trying to lure him into a car.
A van, but go ahead.
Same. So another update, a sad update on this damn fentanyl thing. TMZ reports that Logan Williams, he was best known for his role on the CW series The Flash. He died of a fentanyl overdose. Canada's British Columbia coroner service says the 16-year-old died from an unintentional illicit drug toxicity. Fentanyl. The manner of his death has been listed as accidental. Like I said, according to the coroner's report, he struggled with mental illness and concerns of a history of consuming illicit substances. But this seems like another I didn't know it was fentanyl situation.
Everyone's going to OD from fentanyl who's doing street drugs because they make it into every form of a street drug, and they're using it. They're basically using it like bad restaurants use bacon. They're just putting it on fucking everything,
Right.
but we don't know it.
Right.
And so there's going to have to be fentanyl testing kits. Like people streetwise, savvy drug users are going to have to start testing shit.
That's interesting, but we're not really a nation that's like, well, if you're going to do it, here's a testing kit. We're like, you're on your own if you're doing drugs.
Well, somebody's going to have to, some entrepreneurial whatever is going to have to figure something out, because every week there's a story about somebody ODing because of fentanyl.
My buddy just passed, Michael K. Williams.
We talked about him.
Who I did a movie with about drug rehabilitation centers. He I guess he was doing some drugs and boom.
What's the movie?
It's called Body Brokers. It's about recovery places and how much of a scam it is. And,
interesting.
Michael K. and I were in the movie together with Melissa Leo, and he just passed away last week from fentanyl.
Yeah. And were you aware that he may have had an issue? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone
look, if you're still doing cocaine at 54 years old, you got to start. You got to start questioning, do I have a problem?
Yeah.
And, we don't know what's in the cocaine anymore.
Yeah, super sad. And I didn't realize how many people knew him and how beloved he was until his passing because,
my gosh.
God.
Yeah.
Really, really sad.
Yeah, it's sad. It's terrible.
Someone we haven't heard about in a while is getting sued. Cesar Milan, dog whisperer. He's being sued by a young woman who claims that his pit bull attacked her and ended her promising future as a star gymnast.
Oh.
Lydia Matisse says in 2017, she went to her mother's office building, which was owned by Milan, was bitten on the leg multiple times by his pit bull, Junior, who was allowed to just roam free off the leash. He could have used your, just put the leash on.
Just let the leash hang.
Yeah, I remember Junior from the show. He was like the sweetest dog. He'd bring him to train other dogs.
Was he? Because she suffered severe leg injuries, and now the young gymnast claims she can't compete. Her lawsuit also argues that Junior was known to have a violent past and even killed Queen Latifah's dog.
Really?
Yeah, that's what TMZ's reporting.
That's a hate crime.
That is a hate crime.
Milan has responded to this. He argues that Mattis understood the risk of walking into the office building and also maintained his story that Queen Latifah's dog died after it was struck by a car, a claim which Mattis insists is a cover-up. We don't know how much she's suing for.
Well, how much earning potential do you have as a gymnast?
Wheaties boxes.
Yeah, because there's really no real market for getting paid. Now, you could say I was going to enter not Blue Man Group, but Cirque du Soleil, something like that. There's some Vegas version of that maybe you could get paid for, but it's really hard to say what your potential earnings were. From being a junior gymnast.
It is interesting, though, that if your big argument isn't my dog's sweet, she's lying, it's she knew the risk of walking in the building.
Yeah, you walk into a commercial office building and be mauled by a mountain lion or a bobcat or a puma.
Who among us doesn't know that?
Yeah.
That's on her.
Feral cat.
That's right.
Leopard.
You got dogs, Frank?
I got 2 Cane Corsos. Do you know what they are?
Oh, yeah. I love them.
No, what are they?
Cane Corsos.
Those are Italian Mastiffs.
Oh, my God. Yeah, we're looking at one of them. Yeah.
You see it? They're puppies right now, but they'll be about 150 pounds. It was a COVID lapse of judgment, and I didn't get one, Adam. I got 2.
Wow. And are they decent puppies, or are they chewing slippers?
No, they're amazing. They've been great. They have a trainer who's not Caesar, and they're great. My kids love them. They're good dogs.
What are their names?
Rumlow is that guy. How you doing, pal? And Sophie is the girl. Yeah.
Cute.
Famously, or maybe not so famously, but when he was a neighbor of mine, Patrick Dempsey always had a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Oh.
Which is a big, scary dog that has fur that goes the wrong direction along their spine. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I don't know if Patrick
those are lion dogs. Those dogs. Yep.
Yeah, they use them to hunt lions.
Yeah.
Jesus. So it's Cane. I always thought it was a cane corso, but yeah, they're huge.
Cane is Italian for dog.
Oh, there you go.
It's an Italian Mastiff, yeah.
Of course, Frank knows that. So we've talked in the past about how Adam has been sort of anti-soap for a long time. But now that, like, pretty boy, like very pretty celebrities like Matthew McConaughey and Ashton Kutcher, they're down with the cause too. It's all good. Well, it's not all good. Apparently you can be pretty and receive backlash about this. The college students in Ames, Iowa greeted Ashton Kutcher with chants of take a shower. I'll show you in a second. The actor,
Game Day is the best.
He grew up in Iowa. He appeared on Saturday on ESPN's College Game Day program to talk a little NCAA football. Many of the fans start tailgating early. They get crazy, started mocking him. Oh, yeah. So this summer, as we talked about before, Ashton and his wife Mila Kunis sparked controversy over how infrequently they force their children to bathe. And he said, if you can see the dirt on them, clean it up. Otherwise, there's no point. Just wash your armpits and your crotch. Here's how the fans greeted him when he was trying to talk about his new charity.
I'm working on a new charity project right now. It's called Outside Wine. And the whole idea is
Game Day is awesome.
At the end of the day, like, we can look at the data and
how hard would that be to ignore?
No,
take a shower.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love those drunken kids. See, look. They get a bad rap at the Rams' new stadium because they're fighting with the Bears. Fans, but drunken fans can be a good thing.
If you ever want to go down a wormhole, look for the signs at Game Day. The signs are very creative.
That chant was a perfect example of how booze can be used for good in a football setting. They were definitely tailgating, they're definitely drunk, and yet there they were, bringing us so much joy.
Yeah, so just so you know, you're in good company. Are you guys familiar with Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
No.
She's been on SNL. Frank, you may be more familiar than these guys. She was the lead in that show that she actually wrote called Fleabag. It was a huge sort of success on critical success on BBC. Really funny. She was also in Broadchurch. She had an arc in Crashing as Lulu. If that sounds familiar.
Crashing.
So anyway, the reason I bring her up, there are rumors that she will be replacing Harrison Ford as the lead in the 5th Indiana Jones movie.
That is the worst idea I've ever heard ever, but okay.
I cannot wait for you to elaborate on that.
That maybe is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, so we know where Frank stands. I can't wait to hear more. An insider said the producer, Kathleen Kennedy, was looking to make a big change. It was announced earlier this year that she would star opposite Harrison, who will be 80, I think, next year.
I was going to say to Frank, Frank, I love Indiana Jones probably as much as you do, maybe more, but Harrison Ford's an old man. Like James Bond, that he'd be retired at some point. Can you have Roger Moore, pretending to ski down the slope?
No, but you can have Ashton Kutcher.
Right.
Okay.
No, I look, here's the way I look at this. There are franchises, and the franchises sometimes, Black Widow or something, they have a woman, and then Black Panther, they have a black man. Whitey gets a couple of franchises. We can't be mixing and matching. We can't hop genders. We can't hop race.
Wait a second. So you wouldn't sign off on an Idris Elba, James Bond. James Bond.
I'd consider it. I liked I Am Legend.
When's the white man going to get a
fair shake in this town? No, but this whole thing of we're going with a chick because we're going to reimagine. Indiana Jones should be a dude. Just find a young strapping dude and put him in that thing. We all know what happened with the Ghostbusters.
No, don't go down that road.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Come on. You know what? I just saw Harrison Ford. He looks great at 80. I think he could do one more.
All right. Well, I will find out next, I think, July. is when they're going to release that. So we talked about Dubai recently and how everything's bigger and better and shinier and glitzier. Well, the latest addition to Dubai's long list of the biggest and the tallest is now how they are crushing Vegas with the biggest Ferris wheel. And this is in the record books. Ain Dubai is a giant observation wheel that's been taking shape on the city's Blue Waters Island development for more than 6 years. It will open in a couple weeks, October 21st, and it will become the world's largest observation wheel. I think we have some pictures.
Can't wait till Vin Diesel jumps it in Fast and Furious 11.
More than 250 meters. It's 82 meters higher than the Ferris wheel in the High Roller in Vegas. It's almost twice the size of the London Eye, which towers over the Thames River. And Dubai's also home to the world's tallest tower, the highest restaurant, the world's highest infinity pool, the world's largest fountain show, the world's fastest roller coaster, and the world's largest indoor theme park.
Yeah, we get it. Labor's cheap.
Something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
They just made it on every terrorist's things to do list, right?
Something bad will happen.
You ever been to Dubai, Frank?
No, I'm not on my bucket list.
Yeah, it seems like that's what you can do if you have endless amounts of money and you don't mind exploiting neighbor nations' labor.
Life's good in that case.
Yeah, but it also it starts to feel, oh, you know what? Maybe we should get rid of ugly American and go with ugly Dubaian.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Because I feel
ugly
like
Emirates.
Well, they're far more ostentatious.
Yeah,
than
we're giving up the mantle on the ugly American stuff. They're the ones that are getting gross and spending money for no reason.
Absolutely. But we are right behind them because we have a billionaire in our midst named Mark.
Can I say this too, though? I wouldn't mind hiring a couple city officials and mechanical engineers from Dubai.
Oh,
Look, we've been trying to get a fucking rail system in this town for 50 goddamn years. They'd be like, no problem. It was done this week.
How's your Saturday?
I mean, they've put up 7,000 structures and 200 million stories.
We've been debating
They built man-made islands.
Yes.
We can't get a fucking monorail to go to LAX in that time. I would love to get Garcetti and go, look, I'm going to give you a list of shit Dubai has done in the last 7 years.
In your term.
Versus you. Dubai's built towers and pyramids and man-made islands and lakes, and they built giant Ferris wheels and indoor water parks and indoor skiing academies and everything. You've added 2,600 homeless.
Well,
and gas went up. That's all we got.
We've started an exploratory committee to start looking into the possibility of starting a rail to LAX.
Yeah, and to be fair, our encampments are bigger.
Yes. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Could we get some of those Dubai guys over here just to get the fucking ball rolling?
It's fair. So I want to tell you about this guy, billionaire Mark Lohr. He's outlined, now you may have heard about this. I'm just mentioning it now because there's a little more information. He's outlined his vision for a 5 million person new city in America. And, Dubai-esque maybe, appointed a world-famous architect to design it. Now, CNN reports that he needs somewhere to build it.
Yeah.
And $400 billion in funding. But he's the former Walmart exec, and he's unveiled plans for Telosa, a sustainable metropolis that he hopes to create from scratch in the American desert.
Good.
And he wants it to be 150,000 acres. It's eco-friendly, sustainable energy production, and a purportedly drought-resistant water system. He also wants to call it a 15-minute city design. So it doesn't matter where you live, where you work, where the schools are. Everything's about a quarter-hour commute back and forth. Now, here are the places that are being considered.
Salton Sea?
Yeah, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Arizona, Texas, and the Appalachian region. This is all where they're scoping out territory.
Well, anytime you fly, and we do a lot of flying, you just look down and it's like all you see is this open land.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, in the past, well, how could you utilize that open land? It gets to 120 degrees in the summer and the livestock and nothing grows and blah, blah, blah. But now that we're creating our own electricity and the desalination with the water and all the technology, there's no reason why we couldn't just do this. I mean, hell, when you look at Palm Springs, you're like, well, that was just flat out desert.
I mentioned the Salton Sea. That was a planned community. This was supposed to be upscale, right? It's supposed to be a beautiful planned community. It probably still could be. I mean, you have to clear out a lot of riffraff, but you know,
is that a Val Kilmer movie?
There is a Val Kilmer movie called The Salton Sea. D'Onofrio's in that.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I get kind of freaked out by these really lush oasis communities in the desert because if we're already in a drought, do you need like all of your palm trees and your grass as velvety as it comes?
Well, if you can produce water, then I guess you can do whatever you want. If you're taking it away from nearby farmers in the whatever valley, then it's no bueno. And you know, I know these stories always have a sad ending because it's always turns. Some M. Night Shyamalan gets hold of this idea and it all goes south at some point. But after living in L.A. for as long as I've lived in L.A., I'd give it a try.
Oh, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I no longer need personality in my environment. You know what I mean? Like people like, hey.
Consistency.
Yes. I want a P.F. Chang's.
I want to know what I want to get.
Yes. Yes. I'm tired of all the local color.
Yeah. Olive Garden for days.
Olive Garden, P.F. Chang's stacked on top of each other.
Maybe a Sephora for the ladies.
Valencia.
Yes.
Go to Valencia.
Yeah.
You know how they rebranded Valencia? They call it Awesome Town.
That's
they
right.
do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
It is
That's
awesome.
the rebranding of Valencia, Awesome Town.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep.
All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
The NFL's gay.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Frank Grillo, thanks so much for joining us. And if you want to see some cool cars, just hit me off the air and I'll arrange a tour for you.
And I'll send you some photos from Emilia Romagna when I'm with the Lamborghini family.
Nice.
Please, it would be my pleasure. All right, great Frank Grillo. Cop Shop, name of the movie, available, or I should say nationwide this Friday. Let me tell you last but not least about LifeLock. Email phishing attacks and brute force attacks are the two most successful methods cyber criminals use for ransomware and extortion attacks on corporate networks. It's important to understand how cybercrime and identity theft are affecting our lives. Every day we put our info at risk on the internet. In an instant, cyber criminals could harm your finances and your credit. Good thing there is LifeLock. LifeLock helps detect a wide range of identity threats like your social security number for sale on the dark web. If they detect your information has potentially been compromised, they'll send you an alert, right, Dawson?
No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can keep what's yours with LifeLock by Norton. Join now and save up to 25% off your first year by using promo code ADAM. Call 1-800-LifeLock or head to lifelock.com and use promo code ADAM for 25% off.
All right, we're going to be in Solana Beach outside of San Diego doing live podcasts and stand-up there. That'll be September 22nd. Adam Ray's coming with us, and then I'll be in Chicago, Park West, doing stand-up there September 24th. So go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Gina Grad, Frank Grillo, Bald Brian. Say it. Mahalo.